Hello, remember to thyself be true. In this video, I am going through my monthly review for February 2025. So this is how my spending went. So additional stuff that happened here is that I got a gift for an amount of 2,650, and I also had a refund for an amount of 1,590, and unfortunately the transfer from my savings, I transferred a chunk of 10,000 rand from my savings instead of 4,000. So my total income source that I was working with is an amount of 36,705 rand 85 cents. When it comes to my fixed expenses, life cover, it was exactly 376.67. DSTV, I paid 10 rand because I think I've been prepaying, so my debt was 10 rand for the month. For my house assistant, I paid 4,000, and then I forgot that I have an annual subscription of Google Go, which was an amount of 349 rand 99 cents for the month. So my total fixed expense for the month of February then amounted to 4,736 rand 66. So from my income source of 36,705 rand 85 less the fixed expense of 4,736.66, the amount that was remaining is an amount of 31,969 rand 19 cents. Moving right along to my variable expenses, groceries, instead of the 2,510 cents that I budgeted, I spent the following. Groceries, I spent an amount of 3,663 rand 18 cents, and then meat, I spent 51 rand 98 cents. Fuel, I spent exactly 3,000. Bolt, I spent an amount of 235. Taxi, 50 rand. Gautrain, I spent 1,664 exactly. And then cleaning supplies, it was 221 rand 95 cents. Standard Bank was 17 rand 12 cents. Capitec, I spent just 8 rand. Time Bank, nothing. For my baby, I ended up spending a huge chunk of 4,263 rand 77 cents. Electricity, I did not purchase any of it. And then additional variable expenses that I incurred, it was giving for an amount of 200 rand. And then it was beauty or toiletries that amounted to 29.99, and then household for patio chairs. I think it was the chunk of this amount. So household, I spent 4,153 rand 97 cents. And then there was also toll gate that I spent on, and the toll gate was just 21 rand 80, and then eating out, which costed me 40 rand. So the total variable expenses that I spent on was an amount of 14,920 rand 76 cents. So from the variable expense balance of 31,969.19 less variable expenses of 14,920 rand 76, I am left with an amount of 17,048 rand 43. I don't have any debts that I paid or that I was owing. When it comes to my savings, I saved an amount of 2,700 rand for my emergency fund, and then there was also a roundup for Black Friday. I was just clearing my account, and this was just 2 rand 2 cents. So I saved an amount of 2,702 rand 2 cents. So the balance remaining of 17,048 rand 43 cents less the savings of 2,702 rand 2 cents is an amount of 14,346 rand 41 cents. And then when it comes to my investments, I invested exactly 500 to my retirement annuity, 500 to my tax-free savings account, 100 to my frank. For my child, I invested 500 rand, so it was actual equals to budget. So from the balance, if I deduct the 1,600, I am left with 12,746 rand 41 cents. And then to that, when we go to my personal fun expenses, grooming I did not do, and then books I spent 319. Namibia I paid 7,350. Dubai I paid 3,000, and then hair salon it was exactly 320. Stockfell it was exactly 1,000 rand. And then I paid clothing, the tailor 120, and then airtime that I purchased for 5 rand 50. So the total personal fun expenses amounted to 12,114 rand 50. So to the total, when I deduct the 12,114.5 is an amount of 631.91 that is remaining. So when it comes to my total income, I actually used more, an amount of 36,705 rand 85 cents that I was working with, and then total expenses were 31,771 rand 92 cents. Total saved was an amount of 2,702 rand 2 cents, and there weren't any debt. Invested was exactly 1,600. So 36,705.85 less 31,771.92 less 2,702.02 less 1,600. So the balance is 631.91. When it comes to my notes, I'm just gonna write here underspent, overspent, and then I'm gonna highlight underspent with purple, and then overspent I'm gonna highlight it with pink. So overall, I underspent on just the savings. The other thing that I underspent on is the personal or fun expenses, and then I overspent on variable expenses, and then I also overspent on the fixed expenses. This is based on the Google. So when it comes to the monthly review, this is what we normally fill in during the week. And then total income for the month of February, I was working with 36,705 rand 85 cents, and total expenses I used 31,771 rand 92 cents. I saved just 2,702 rand 2 cents. I don't have any debt that I needed to pay. I invested 1,600 and I was left over with 631 rand 91, which I am carrying to the next month. And then this I also accumulated and filled for the month. So in terms of my representation, my savings and investments based on the budget and what I spent on, it's 12% of my income, food 10% of my income, transport 6%, baby 12%, household 12%, entertainment, which includes my holidays that I'm going to, 28%, miscellaneous 11%, beauty and clothing 2%, subscription and insurance 2%, education, giving, and personal 5%. So a huge chunk, as can be seen here, went to entertainment, but I just know that this by June will be less. I'll be able to increase on this 12% of savings and investment. I want the pie chart to be this for savings and investment like I did last year. And then transport, baby, and household is the second biggest highlighted, and then the third is the miscellaneous, beauty, clothing, subscription, and lastly insurance. And then it comes the savings and investment, and the fourth one is this food, and lastly education, giving, and personal. Until next time, remember, to thyself be true and to thy finances be